Welcome to the 2019 OIS at ASCRS. Emmett and I welcome you. We want to thank our sponsors in a moment and the staff that's brought this all together. But this is yet another amazing gathering. Many sponsors, thank you so much. We couldn't power this project forward at the quality that we can without support, and so thank you. Aerie Pharmaceuticals sponsored the breakfast this morning, so thank you specifically to Aerie. The Healthegy team, Craig, Danielle, and teammates, you do a great job. It helps Emmett and I and many others pull this all together seamlessly, so thank you so much. This has been quite a journey at OIS. We're on our 23rd meeting. Wow. The inaugural meeting at AAO, many of you were there, I bet. Then we kicked off ASCRS here in San Diego the first time. We had an ASCRS. Then we reached out to ASRS, so we have a back of the eye focused meeting. And then this year, for the first time, we have an optometric focused meeting, pun intended, with OIS at SECO, which was off to a nice start. 22 meetings, nearly 12,000 attendees, and this is the, kind of the attendance at each of the meetings over the years. You can see that the Academy AAO meeting continues to be our largest, and it's the most comprehensive, where we really try to do pharma, device, anterior segment, posterior segment, and be more comprehensive there. This tends to be more of an anterior segment focused session. Who attends? You recall that one thing we talk quite a bit about is the constituents that are required for innovation, the people that need to step up and be involved. None of us can do it alone. It's the entrepreneurs, the inventors, the early team, the clinicians, early adopters, key opinion leaders. We got money, we have to have money, so access to money through a financial partner. And then, of course, we're handing off innovation, I hope, in a high-quality way to the industry leaders. And one thing we watch is we try to get a mix of you in the room, okay? And it's a nice blend. Over 40% of us are in the entrepreneur, inventor, private category. 15% key opinion leaders, 10% financial partners, and a strong presence of industry leaders, so thank you. Thanks for coming. We have attendees from 32 states, 17 countries, and we also have a number of attendees that are communications experts as well. So what I thought we would do is get going on the innovation cycle, and what I'm going to do over the next couple of minutes is we're going to step through each of the stage pretty lightly of my view of the innovation cycle, both for devices and for pharma. We're going to talk about the pros and cons a little bit and the differences between those. Then I'm going to give an update on the financial market, both the public market at a high level as well as private investing. And then I'm going to welcome some panelists up that represent each of the four constituencies in innovation. And we're going to talk about the innovation cycle and so forth for a bit. So on the device side, as you can see, early stage invention, preclinical, then we get into the clinic, do proof of concept work, almost always outside the US in high quality clinics. We iterate and refine based on real world experience, begin to power through the regulatory path, get fortunate enough to make headway there. and then launch into the market. So those are the stages that we're going to discuss this morning a bit on the innovation cycle. And think about your involvement. Where are you involved in the innovation cycle? Probably multiple touch points, We timeline that out a bit and estimate how long it takes. We need to, I'm not realistic very often, but periodically I have to be, and try to plan time-wise and capital-wise on what it's going to take to move a project along. You've seen this slide before. It's relatively consistent. On the device side, there is a difference, of course, between a 510K path and a PMA path, and that's laid out here. When do we create value, reduce risk, and potentially exit when we're innovating on the device side of ophthalmology? You know, tends to be later in this cycle, doesn't it? Aren't very many early stage exits on the device side. It can be when we're powering through the US FDA and doing some market release and market work, OUS, or more likely the exit is at or near FDA approval to get access to the US market. Then on the pharma side, again, innovation cycle has a few differences, of course. I'm not going to talk too specifically about each of them. We'll just step through. And again, if you're on the pharma side of innovation, think about where you're participating in the innovation cycle and how you can make it work, create value. Again, same flow from idea to market release. Takes a decade or more, most typically. Interestingly, on the pharma side, the exit path tends to be different. There can be exits at nearing FDA approval and market launch, earlier than that, and earlier. So there's much different profile for teaming up on a pharma project with industry leaders than there is on the device side. Well, excuse me, the panel will talk a bit about that as well. So it can be even preclinical where an asset is acquired. We're going to go through quickly the public markets. Strong in 2018, 75 healthcare IPOs raising substantial money. Only a small portion of those are commercial, as you can see, the green bar there. In 2019, we're off to a solid start. These data were provided by the Piper Jaffray team, so I appreciate that so much. Now let's step through the IPOs in ophthalmology. So in 2018 and year to date in 19, 5 ophthalmic IPOs. And I think you're familiar with each of the companies. There's a small one at the bottom there, Alcon. I'll tell you more about that in a while. So the venture fundraising, I'm not going to go through all of the details here, but I wanted it in the deck, so if you download the deck later, you'll have the data on the market. So I'm not going to read through each of these. But basically, strong venture funding market, strong exits in our field. And so the environment is solid, okay, in our field for innovation. And so there are 24 financings, 14 in the device side, and 10 on the pharma side in the last year. So those are the venture private stage financing, solid platform there. So the financial markets, as I said, largely stable and supportive of innovation, thankfully, in our field. So as I wrap up, we're still have plenty of unmet need in our field. We need to continue to incubate and innovate. The key constituents are working together as well or better than ever. And that's one of the things that drives the innovation in this field. So innovation in the ophthalmic sector continues to maintain momentum. And I just want to thank all of you and those that aren't in the room today for staying committed to innovation, because as you know, when we do well, many people benefit. Thank you very much.